Only 12 more days till Christmas.
What if nobody likes the presents I give?
Sometimes I just feel like a big failure.
James Lord Pierpont probably felt like a big failure lots of times. We might even wonder if James Lord Pierpont ever felt any joy.
Things began well enough. Born into a rich family in Boston, named after great-grandfather Reverend James Pierpont, who was a graduate of Harvard and one of the founders of Yale University.
But at age 10, James Lord Pierpont was sent away to a boarding school and wrote a letter to his mother about riding in a sleigh through the December snow.
James Lord Pierpont must have had some problems at boarding school because at age 14, he ran away on a ship that might have taken him as far as California, all the way from the East Coast around South America to the West Coast.
By the time James Lord Pierpont was about 25 years old, he had returned to Massachusetts. He was married and had 2 children.
But just a few years into the marriage, James Lord Pierpont returned to California to open a store in San Francisco during the 1849 gold rush. He also worked as a photographer.
He left his wife and children in Massachusetts with his father, Reverend James Pierpont, a pastor who passionately preached on the need to abolish slavery.
When the store burned down in California, James returned home feeling like a failure.
He also wrote poetry. Some of it even got published, but he did not get paid enough to make a living. After his California experience, he wrote,
"Oh, I'm going far away from my creditors just now. I ain't the 10 to pay 'em, and they're kicking up a row. There's my tailor vowing vengeance and swear he'll give me fits. The sheriff's running after me with pockets full of writs. Oh, I'm going far away, but I don't know where I'll go. I ought to travel homeward, but they'll laugh at me, I just know."
Well, James Lord Pierpont was a failure as a poet, so he decided to go to Savannah, Georgia, where his brother was a pastor who also preached against slavery just like their father.
James became the church organist and earned a little extra money by giving organ and singing lessons at the church.
but his wife and children still stayed in Massachusetts with James's father.
While James was with his brother in Georgia, his wife died of tuberculosis.
Around that time, congregation disbanded because of the conflict about slavery, and his brother returned home to Massachusetts to continue working to abolish slavery.
But James stayed in Georgia with his new wife, the daughter of the mayor of Savannah during the Civil War.
We might think James Lord Pierpont died a failure, accomplishing nothing that he set out to do or be.
Yet one version of the story of his life tells us that on a snowy afternoon, he was trying to decide what to give the Sunday school class for Christmas.
He didn't have much, so he wrote a little poem.
It added some music.
What a cheap present.
Yet the best kind of present, we cannot put it under the Christmas tree because it's in our hearts.
Every year, come December, we celebrate with joy the success of James Lord Pierpont. We carry in our hearts and minds a lifelong memorial to him.
It's a song, a catchy song about the simple joy of whizzing through a snowy winter night in a sleigh pulled by one horse, laughing and singing with some friends. James Lord Pierpont wrote,
Jingle bells.
To write a song that stands for simple joys that so many people around the world know, well, that is not a failure.
Joy overwhelms difficult circumstances.
In the Gospel of John, the Bible declares, the light keeps shining in the dark, and darkness will never put it out.
The light of joy shines forever.
So today we light the rose-colored candle of joy, celebrating the song Jingle Bells.
We also light the candle of hope, reminding us of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and the candle of love for the song St. Nicholas.
As we light the candles, everyone is invited to sing.
Jingle bells.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Merry Christmas!